Hey everybody, Rachel here from Rachthestamper.com. Let me just straighten this out a little bit. And today I'm going to show you how to create this really fun, it's kind of like a double fun fold card. So it's got the airplane and then there's another like little peekaboo layer underneath. Please don't mind me, I stamped this one here crooked because I put it on after the fact, but it's a really cute card. But I want to tell you, I was cleaning my desk just before I was making this video, and I'm trying to cover up some of my little glares here. And I thought, what a great color combination this is. Look at this. This is Summer Splash and Misty Moonlight. And Misty Moonlight is not one of my favorite colors, but I might have to make a card with this because normally I would always pair this with Night of Navy. But this is a great color combo. So I need to make myself a little note and make a card. And this would even be cool with this. So you had maybe like the background and you could do like the Summer Splash for the body instead of basic beige. And that, I don't know. So I just wanted to point that out in case you hadn't seen it. But this is going to be the base of our cards. You can see we have a little bit of scoring to do. So you do have to do this on a hamburger style, not a hot dog, because otherwise your pieces will slice off. So our base card is going to be 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. So we also have some inks. I'm going to show you the colors. I can flip this one over so you can see. So we have Misty Moonlight, Night of Navy, and this is more for the sponging to make it a little darker. Basic Gray and Smoky Slate. Okay, I'm going to put those on the side. We are also using a couple pieces. So this is for the inside panel. This is Basic Beige. It is, I want to tell you, I don't have a piece with me, but some people will probably say this is a little bit close to, oh my gosh, what is the color? Not River Rock. Oh, I'm losing the name of the color. I had it in my head. Where is it? Hold on, I know what it is. Sahara Sand, and it's not. Sahara Sand was a little bit more of like a yellowish undertone, like a mustard, and this is definitely a super versatile color. So if you haven't gotten this, or maybe you haven't seen it in person, it really is a great addition to our neutrals. So honestly, I really was never a huge Very Vanilla fan. This is a great neutral. It's almost like it's just a little bit lighter than Crumb Cake. Great color. I love this color. So this is our inside panel. And then we also need 2 pieces of scrap. It can be 2 by 4. This is for the plain body. And then this is same thing, Misty Moonlight, 2 by 4. I just used the other scrap piece I had left. Then we have a piece of the DSP. And I believe this is called Up in the Sky, Up in the Air. Let me see what it's called. Take to the Sky. I was close. I was half right. So this piece measures 4 by 2 3/4. And then we have 2 pieces of DSP, and these are going to be for our side panels here. And these measure 1 inch. I wonder which way they go because I have to figure out how to line them up so they kind of match. Oh, Lord. Shouldn't have done that. Now I don't know. Oh, well, these are just be non-matchy. You won't be able to tell the difference anyway. These measure 1 inch by 4 inches, and you do need 2 pieces. The other sides are just a little bit different. So that's going to be our pieces, and then we're going to score this. So let me get my trimmer. And we do have to do a little bit of die cutting, and I'm going to just tell you a couple tips of what I did. But there's also a couple things that I decided not to do, so I'll tell you about those as well. So first, what we need to do is to score this card in half at 4 1/4. So remember, just in case you don't know, the light blade is the scoring blade, the dark blade is the cutting. So we have our 4 1/4 scoring here, and then what we're going to do is we're going to line the edge up at 1 1/4. And what we're going to be doing, so just so you can see where we are, we're going to be scoring, and you can either go from the bottom down or the top down, whatever's easier for you. But you're going to cut on each side, okay? So I'm going to just cut up to right where that score line is, because it's a little bit easier to go at the bottom. If you go over a hair, it's okay. So 1 1/4, and then we're going to go over here on this side and do the exact same thing. Now I should be at the score mark here, so I'm just going to score down. Yep, I was pretty close. So that's it. Okay, so these pieces, we have done these in the past where we've had these as a pop-up, but these are going to actually be 2 different pop-ups. So these 2 will get hooked together with the plain, and then this one will get the DSP on, and then it'll just be an additional pop-up. Okay, so that's pretty much all you have to do for this card. And we do have a little bit of die cutting. So I'm going to grab my machine. Out of the way, buddy. Nope. Keep moving. Sorry, I'm trying to direct the dog out of the way. All right, and in the world, oh, I left it over there. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut the base of the body. So this is two different parts that you layer together, the base and then the top wings. So I want to just be fully transparent with you. When originally I did this, and you can see on the back because I had to put the release paper back on, I thought maybe it would be a good idea to put adhesive sheet on these, but the problem is the whole thing becomes adhesive then, and it's going to essentially completely make the card closed. So what I did was I ended up cutting a second layer of the basic beige to cover up, and then I used this one. I kind of just took the sticky off, and I probably need to do this a little bit more. In case you've never done this, this is just a quick tip for you. If you ever put adhesive on something and you don't want it to be sticky, what you can do is you can take your embossing buddy and you kind of tap, and it basically sticks the embossing powder, whatever it is that's in here, or the anti-static powder to this, so it's not sticky any longer. So if you ever goof something up, that's a great way to fix it. So originally I was thinking of putting adhesive sheet on the back of this to put it together, but it just basically makes it a little bit more difficult than you really need it to be. So you kind of want to omit that step. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut the body out of this, and we're going to cut the biplane portion out of the Misty Moonlight. And then I thought I had my sponge out, but apparently I don't. So I just need to grab a sponge from overhead. But the Adventurous Sky is the bundle that we're using. So through June 30th, if you purchase the dies and the stamp set together as a bundle, you will get an additional 10% off. So we're using these two pieces here. So it definitely would make it easier to be able to stick these together this way with the adhesive sheet. But if your card is going to be closed, so if you're going to do a different kind of card, it'll totally work. But if not, you don't want to do that because it's not going to really work out very well. And the only other thing I want to cut out while we're here is we're going to use these. These are the propellers. You don't need both of them, but that's kind of the way they cut. So I'll just put them on there. And then I'm going to show you a little trick for what I did here for this. And I just ordered my tune-in dies because I bought the stamp set, and I don't know, it must have been early the day when I bought it. And I thought they were coordinating dies with it, but I couldn't find them. Well, it's because I didn't order them. So I had to order those separately. So save yourself the trouble if you want and order both at the same time. So you will save an additional 10%, like I said, through June 30th. I'm going to put this back. And what do I want to do? Oh, we'll do that other part after the fact. So I'm going to show you how to put this together first. So what you want to do, just going to grab a piece of scrap paper here because I have plenty of it. So you can either, and look just like that, I couldn't remember where I put it, and I just looked to the side, and here it is. You can either use a blending brush if you wanted to, but I feel like you get a little better detail if you use a sponge dauber. And I'm going to add a little bit of Night of Navy just to the front. I want to show you what this looks like. So you can see I made it a little bit darker here. So to the front of the plane, I don't know what this part is, so I apologize. And to the top wing and the bottom. Not a lot, just kind of added a little bit. So I'm going to just sponge. And I'm not adding much more there. You can see I wanted the front part near the propeller to be a little bit darker. And then you could do the wheels as well. So that's good for that. And then without re-inking, oops, I went and did the same thing with the body. So I kind of just went over more so the top. Because again, you're going to glue it together, so it's not going to be super noticeable. But it kind of just gave, and then I went down the lines of the plane. Kind of just gave a little bit more depth to it. This will get completely covered up by this, so no worries. So I'm going to grab my little poker. We'll get rid of these little extra doodads we have in here. The nice part is if you do use the adhesive sheet for this, it pops all this stuff out. It makes it super, super easy. But the problem is if you want it to stick or don't want it to stick to certain parts, you're kind of out of luck. There you go. So that's I think I got them all. Yep, that's what it looks like. So then this, we'll just put some liquid glue on here. It's just going to sit right on top of this, just like so. And it will line up, and then we'll just put our propeller right on the end there. Okay, so I'm trying to make sure there's nothing else I sponged. I'm pretty sure the only other thing was this. So I want to show you what this is. This is actually pretty cool. And for this, it's funny because when I did it, it's this circle, and I'm going to die cut one of these out. So what I did is I just stamped the happy birthday, and I kind of slightly lined it up, but it almost looks like a paper plate. So if anybody happens to have the burger, this would be great because there's a bigger one. You could even put your burger on a paper plate, because when you die cut this, it looks like the ridges of a paper plate. You know, only I would think of something so silly. So what I did is I just did a simple happy birthday. Where is it? Right here. And I stamped it just to be different. I stamped it in basic gray. So let me just pop this on here. Move this out of the way. And we're just going to kind of eyeball. Perfect. All right. So then what we're going to do is we're going to line this up approximately. And I'm going to put a little piece of tape just to hold that in place. And I'm going to run this through. And here's another plate. Okay, so now you can see what this looks like. So if you see it in person, it really does look like a paper plate. So this would be perfect for the burger card. So all I did is I'm going to trim this off, and I'm just going to do it with my scissors. So it's not going to be 100% perfect, but that's okay. Like that. And I just thought it kind of gave a little something extra with that at the end. So you could probably use these for something, but doesn't it look like a piece of a paper plate? I mean, it does. Or lime wedges. I mean, whatever you want to do. So let me move this back over here. And then I sponged the edge of that. I just did whatever was left on this dauber, and I just added a little bit to the ends, to each end. I didn't do anything crazy. So you can see there's a little bit of contrast on the ends of those there. Okay. So now all we have to do is put this together. I'm going to put those on the side and get rid of all these little scrappy pieces. Okay, so the simplest way to do this, and I do have something on the inside, so we'll do that when we get to it, is to put the DSP on first. Let me move this over. So what I want to do first is just to make sure that all my creases are nicely creased. Okay, and then I'm going to add my DSP. So I'm just going to use a little bit of liquid glue. Guess what, guys? Really, really good news. I ordered some replacement needles for my Barely Art. So I think they said they've been shipped. So you won't have to hear me complaining about not being able to get the thing out anymore. So I'm just not using it for right now. And normally these would line up, but I did a little whoopsie there. So these are probably just 2 extra pieces that I cut down, because a lot of times if I cut stuff for Card Club and I do like a whoopsie, I'll just use it myself when I make the sample. We're also going to glue this down. Okay, so that's our layers of DSP. And again, none of this is getting glued down because these two will be connected, and this is kind of like the peekaboo. So we are going to want to put this in, but I'm going to wait a minute. We're going to do the front first. Set that on the side. So let's see. I can grab, I know I have a, here it is, silicone mat. Okay, so what I'm going to do is put a little bit of glue on, more so on the solid pieces. Oop, that was a little bit much. Here's a piece. Come on. Let me just move this around a little bit. This is why I like that other one. It's just so much finer. Okay, so the easiest way to do this is to actually line up the front. Oh, see that? Boom diggity. I didn't even need to put glue on that, Rachel. Now I'm going to have to wait for that to dry. Gosh, sometimes, I tell you, just the amount of Polishness, it only needs to be the body. Just astounds me. I really do things that just, sometimes I even surprise myself with how, I shouldn't even say Polish anymore, blonde. I don't know. People probably get insulted when I say that, but you know what? It is what it is. So, there you go. So this part here, I'm going to have to smudge off. When this dries, I probably will hit it with my anti-static powder bag, just because, yeah, I goobered that up a little bit. Okay, so there's that. I am going to put just the teeniest, hopefully, drop. That's plenty. And I want to put my propeller on. Now, one thing about this propeller, and this may or may not be very easy to see. It definitely has a direction where it's supposed to go, if you can see from, I guess, whatever the cap would be. So you want to try your best just to line it up. And what I did is, I did sponge this with color, as you can see a little bit on here, but I waited until it was dry first because I didn't want that to impede the drying portion of it. Okay, so there's that. I'm going to set this on the side for a moment. And we do have our happy birthday part, but we're not going to put that on yet either. So let me move this out of the way. Now for the inside, and I'm going to just take this off, because if we're going to do it the right way, we might as well just do it the right way altogether. We don't really have a whole lot of stamping on here. So I'm going to put this down so it's actually straight. And what I did, oops, for the inside of this is I just stamped the clouds at the bottom, but obviously I butchered the sentiment on there because it's not really very straight. So we're going to do this. I'm going to try to make sure it's straight. And then I just use the smaller cloud. Actually, I think I used the smaller one than that, but we'll use this one. And I stamped it along the bottom. And this I did in Misty Moonlight. So I know I said originally that I had 4 colors, but I've only used a couple of them. So Misty Moonlight. And I did this without re-inking. So I kind of did one stamped. I'll just move this for a moment. Kind of like so. That looks good. And then we will stamp our sentiment in Smoky Slate. So let's see if I can get this so it's straight. My fingers are a little bit gluey. Hopefully that works. Okay, let's see. Well, it's slightly more straight. Still wouldn't go for fully straight, but what you gonna do? Okay, so this is our inside panel. Just put this back on. We will put this on the inside with some liquid glue. Oh, one other thing I forgot. Totally forgot this. While this is still slightly-ish wet, with your blender pen, I just kind of took the ink, and it's a little bit more dry, but, and I kind of just softly blended it. This works better if you do it as soon as you stamp it. So you were to stamp it, put this down and do it. It definitely softened it a little bit. If you want a little bit more, you could always add a little bit. Yeah, that's still definitely a crooked sentiment. But you could always add it after the fact, but that's okay. Look, at least we have a card. The other thing I need to do is to send the card. So if I make the card, even though the sentiment is crooked, and I actually send the card, would be good enough of a feat for me. Okay, so there's that. You're going to have this is going to cover it up, and then your plain is going to be what holds it all together, and then we'll add our little sentiment on. So here's the part where it gets a little bit tricky. So what you can either do is you could use mini glue dots if you wanted to, but what I tend to do is I kind of eyeballed where I wanted it, because you do want it to be centered because it is holding the front of your card together. You can add a little bit of glue to this if it's easier. So maybe adding it underneath versus adding it to the plane. So what I'm going to do is I'm like eyeballing where I am, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue here, just a little bit there, and a little bit of glue here. But if you wanted to, you could put mini glue dots on the back, whatever makes it easier for you. And I'm pressing, and I'm guaranteeing you a little bit of this is going out underneath, but see where it is. I'm just going to wipe up those 2 smudges. And then just pressing my glue in there. Now this does need to dry a little bit to set before you do it. And the only other thing you want to add on there is your happy birthday. So we're just going to add this just like so. And you could add it underneath, you could add it on top, really whatever suits your fancy. My fingers are super, super sticky from all that glue that I tried to rub off the back of the airplane. So hopefully this will stay where I want it to be. And you could also, other thing, since you obviously are in the sky, you could even go as far as to just put a little bit, let's see if I have one that has any in it. Put maybe like a little bit of Wink of Stella underneath a couple of your, see if this squeezes out. I think I need to get some new pens because I'm pretty sure every single one of my pens now, even though I've dipped them in stuff and everything else, I'm pretty sure every single one of them is history. Let's try one of these. Nope, this is one of the ones where the cap comes off funny. This is usually one that works. Yep. You could add a little bit of Wink of Stella to the bottom of a couple of your clouds if you wanted to. You could even do that in here if you wanted to as well. Just add a little bit of something, something. But even though my Wink of Stella pens are empty, I still keep them because they are great for coloring stuff in, especially if you needed to have ones that are different colors. So there is what it's going to look like. You're going to have this multi-level fold. And again, it does open. So you have the flap and then there's plenty of room underneath. I think I have that one just as crooked as this one is. Let's take a look. Nope, this one's definitely more crooked. So at least I botched this one up less than the first one. But it's a really fun fold card. It's kind of like I guess like a double peekaboo. I think it's a lot of fun, and anybody that gets this is definitely going to love it. If you would like to get any of the supplies used today to create this card, head to my online store at rachthestamper.stampinup.net. All the links will be below in the description here of the video. If you haven't already, I would love for you to subscribe to this channel. There's a subscription button, and then right around here there's a bell. If you turn it on when I make a new video, it will send you a notification so you can watch and laugh along at all the goofy things that I do on the daily when I make cards. Thank you so very much for watching me today. If you have any comments or questions about any of this, any suggestions for a card video, anything that you do or don't like, make sure you leave me a description or a comment in the description, which is down below here. You don't have to have a Google account to watch these videos on YouTube, but if you want to comment, you do, and they are free. So you can sign up for a free Google account. There's also, they have email and whatnot on there. So it's definitely a free and useful thing because you could send all of your craft videos to that email address or whatever, but it is a free sign up to have a Google account, which is, some people may or may not know that if you're new to this whole system. But you can even tell with the cards and the 2 different things that I did. I think when I originally started with this sponge dauber, it still had a little bit of gray in it. So this one is more of like a green. This one's more a little bit navy, but they're both really, really cute. Thank you so very much for watching. I hope you have an awesome day.